I was Kills Bill.
And I have been and always will be. Can you dig it?
Chili Nelson. I saw the shirt.
Finally, I have merchandise. Now I'm official.
And Derby fans, just in case you didn't hear at the end of the last bout, Fantasy Funnel Cake Truck is here. They are outside. You may remember them from a week ago in this very location, serving fantastic funnel cakes, colossal churros, wonderful corn dogs, all sorts of associated things that can be deep fried and served out of a truck. Delicious. They are out here and they are open for business and serving fantastic fried foods. Fabulous food for your face. Fantasy Funnel Cake is here, along with Off the Hook Taco Truck, of course, has been here all day long.
We are about 2 minutes to the beginning of the bout, so we're going to go ahead and get started with team rosters for your TXRD All-Star Army. We've got number 1031, Jackie Lantern, number 1337, Joliet Jane, number 1945, John Wayne Gacy, number 20, Zelda Fitzgerald, 222, Scarlet Knockout, 24, Depeche a la Mode, 244, Dammit Jammit, 247, Jose Cuervo, 29, Copperhead, 42, Mostly Harmless, 616, Scapegoat, 62, Slayana Mormont, 9, Ruth Badger Jukesburg, number 1012, Scalatina.
And skating in this bout for the Los Angeles Ri-Ettes, number 115, Sly Fox, number 1960, Stardy Ruckus, number 1963, Skatem O'Neill, number 3, Jay DeBlack, number 329, Draft Punk, number 430, your Captain Oblivion Westwood, number 500, Jesus, number 509, Whoopi Rollberg, number 524, Sonia Sotomayor, number 55, Jackie Nimble, number 845, New York Skate of Mind, number 85, Bel Scorcho, number 9 3/4, Shady Hawkins, and number 9637, Jane Woe.
Gonna go ahead and wait on that whistle to start this bout number 5 of the first day of the Chingadera tournament.
And stepping up to the jammer line for Texas is number 1945, John Wayne Gacy. Jamming for Los Angeles, number 1960, Stardy Ruckus. And making her way through the turn and emerging out as lead jammer for Los Angeles is Stardy Ruckus. John Wayne Gacy is still hemmed in the very back of the pack. There's a solid 3-wall of Los Angeles defenders back there.
John Wayne Gacy struggling to get past that LA defense in the back. Meanwhile, Druck is coming around for some more points.
And that's going to do it for the jam clock. We will wait for the official score from the referees. But before we get to that, we're going to have an official timeout. And it looks like as we work our way through the official timeout, 10-point jam for Los Angeles to kick things off there. So Los Angeles out to the very, very early 10-0 lead. And as we get back to the action here, we do have a very early power jam for Los Angeles. LA with New York Skate of Mind doing the jamming is already out and clear, and an active score for LA. And approaching the pack that is held nearly stationary there in the first turn. New York Skate of Mind able to coast right through on the inside third of the track. 33 seconds to go in the power jam.
Texas trying to build a wall there to prevent more points from being scored against them. LA doing a great job of keeping those blockers separate.
New York's Skate of Mind up to the front of the pack. Big collision there. 3 Texas defenders. And with some help from her pivot, New York's Skate of Mind is sprung free as the clock expires on the power jam.
We've got Depeche lining up for TXRD on the jammer line.
And jamming for Los Angeles is number 55, Jackie Nimble. And the score is in. That was a 15-point power jam for New York Skate of Mind and the Los Angeles Ri-Ettes.
Depeche trying to get past that blocker in the back from LA. Jackie Nimble still not out of the pack yet until turn 2. She's able to break out of that pack, coming around for some points.
And now emerging out the front of the pack is the Texas Jammer. Jackie Nimble takes a look at the situation for a second, then goes ahead and calls off the jam after picking up her points.
Juliet Jane lining up for TXRD on that jammer line.
And Shady Hawkins is jamming for Los Angeles, number 9 3/4. Shady Hawkins quickly up to the front of the pack, trying to negotiate a wall of Texas defenders. And now the light push, able to get her way through there, able to dispense with that last blocker for Texas. And with a full head of steam, Shady Hawkins right along the inside coping and blasts through the pack. And will be coming around for another scoring pass, and there goes Joliet Jane out the front of the pack. And as she was being forced off the track, the jam was called off by Shady Hawkins. Stepping up to the jammer line now, we have
Scapegoat.
Scapegoat, and that is New York Skate of Mind for Los Angeles. And right around the outside goes New York Skate of Mind, and is the lead jammer for LA.
Skeletina trying to play some offense for Scapegoat, their jammer. Scapegoat trying to get past those LA defensive blockers.
New York Skate of Mind able to slide through along the inside in turns 3 and 4 on a scoring pass without being touched. And now down the front straightaway she goes. Looked like Scapegoat was just about clear and then ended up losing a battle with gravity and took a tumble.
We've got Ruth Badger Jukesburg lining up for Texas.
And for Los Angeles, jamming for the first time today, it's Whoopi Rollberg.
Just kidding. It's going to be a power jam for LA. One person. Anybody excited?
So for the Los Angeles Power Jam, it is still Whoopi Rollberg,
who is trying to run right through those walls. Able to get out there in turn 1.
and dashing through the pack there. Following the lead of her blockers, Whoopi Rollberg through halfway through this power jam and coming around for a second scoring pass now up to the high side and able to race by along the rail. And with just a few seconds left in the Los Angeles Power Jam, Whoopi Rolberg runs into some interference that time and escorted down off onto the infield, and the clock expires on the jam.
We've got Star Druckus on the jammer line for LA.
And it's Damn It Jam It, number 244, jamming for Texas. Damn It Jam It, of course, one of our local Arizona skaters helping to fill in for Texas. And blasting through and emerging as lead jammer is Star D. Ruckus.
Jam It trying to fight her way through LA's defense.
Meanwhile, Star D. Ruckus out to the very front of the pack and got those front blockers pushed to just the 20-foot limit, was able to get them called out of play and got through on a scoring pass. Now working her way through again. Took a block that time, tumbled down off onto the infield with a couple of Texas blockers. And that'll do it for the jam. Ten-point jam for LA. We've got New York Skate of Mine for Los Angeles.
And Ruth Badger Jukesberg for Texas. Both jammers still trying to fight their way through to break out of this pack. Ruth Badger Jukesberg having to reset behind the pack. And she is out. She is your lead jammer, but New York Skate of Mine is also out of the pack, about half a track behind her.
And blasting through, we do have a lead change. Zipping by on the inside, New York Skate of Mine takes over lead jammer and gets her points and calls off the jam. Texas does score 2 points in the jam. And a full 5 points for Los Angeles in the jam as well. That puts our score at 74-2 with 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Power jam for LA.
Jammer penalty picked up by Texas previously, and seeing her first time on the jammer line, it's Jane Woe for Los Angeles, racing her way down to the turn, and is already nearly completed with her first scoring pass, and now has completed that, able to dodge a blocker and keep her balance there. Coming up out of turn number 2 now, Jane Woe back up to the pack. 35 seconds to go in the power jam, and Jane Woe is right through the middle, able to find a seam and got right through the Texas defense. We're looking at 20 seconds to go in the power jam, and Jane Woe this time.
John Wayne Gacy delivering a rockin' hit to that jammer to the infield.
Something in physics about that, about a irresistible force in an immovable object.
Science.
Stepping up to the jammer line for Texas is the captain number elite, Juliette Jane. And for LA, that's going to be Shady Hawkins.
Shady Hawkins able to get past those defensive blockers, breaking out of that pack there in turn 1 with Juliette Jane, half a track behind her.
Shady Hawkins now looking for her blockers. Trying to thread her way through, manages to part those last 2 Texas defenders and calls the jam. Stepping up to the jammer line for LA, that's going to be number 1963, Skatem O'Neal. And preparing to jam for Texas, it's number 1012, Skeletina. And finding a seam along the outside, that is Skatem O'Neill for Los Angeles, lead jammer.
Skeletina trying to break past LA's defense, but they keep on recycling in front of her. Meanwhile, Skatem O'Neill slicing through that pack. Skeletina finally out of the pack here in turn 4.
Skatem O'Neill now trying to navigate the pack and ends up getting kind of ground into the rail there at the front end.
We've got Slayana Mormont on the jammer line for Texas.
And there's going to be an official timeout. So we'll step aside briefly here while the referees discuss what went on there in the previous jam. And we'll go ahead and let you know about some of our sponsors. One of which is Devastation. Devastation is your go-to shop for everything on wheels, from the raddest of rad roller skates to the bomb.com light-up wheels spinning on slicker than slick ball bearings. Let us help you find the perfect ride and gear to keep you protected while you're cruising. Offering nearly everything skate-related, from nuts and stops to tools and bags on flashy wheels, come check out the skate ninjas that are slinging them unicorn boots and be ready for the world of skating to make things right again. Devastation. Also, be sure to mark your calendars. The next home bout here with the Arizona Derby Dames here at the Hall of Dames. Season 14 heats up with our next bout on March 9th. The game is a doubleheader featuring 4 of our home teams from the Arizona Derby Dames. To start the night off, the Season 13 champions, the Runaway Brides, will be fighting with those playground bullies, the Schoolyard Scrappers. That's going to be a good one. Second game of the night will be those Morglovin Coffin Draggers against the post-apocalyptic Doomsday Valkyries. It'll all be right here at the Hall of Dames. That's Saturday, March 9th, 6 p.m. We'd like to let you know about Copper Star Coffee. Copper Star Coffee is a locally owned coffee shop and cafe providing hand-blended drinks and award-winning baked goods. Check out their booth over by the merchandise counter or visit them at the southwest corner of 7th Avenue and Heatherbrae, just north of Indian School Road. They'll be serving coffee again tomorrow morning, hot, fresh, and delicious. It's Copper Star Coffee.
Stop by the Siphon Draw Apothecary Shop booth over by Merch. They produce all-natural, non-toxic, handcrafted skincare products made by our very own Dolly de los Muertos. Visit them at the Goldfield Ghost Town or on historic Highway 88.
And if you are here with us in the Hall of Dames or are watching on the web stream and you've seen the amazing team signs in the warehouse that are along our front straightaway, Above and Beyond Pallet Creations takes pallets and gives them a second life. For more information or to commission work, see Bobby Ross, the coach of the Schoolyard Scrappers, or you can look up Above and Beyond Pallet Creations on Facebook.
We are getting ready for that whistle. Had to fix some technical difficulties, but we're set. Let's play some roller derby. Mo's ready. Anybody else want to watch some roller derby?
All right, we are back to the action. 2:20 to go in the first quarter, and at the jammer line for Los Angeles, number 509, Whoopi Rollberg. And jamming for Texas is number 62, Shayana Mormont. That's Whoopi Rollberg out the front of the pack for Los Angeles, and she is your lead jammer. Got that last blocker pushed out of play. And a bit of a collision there. Along the front straight, Whoopi Rollberg able to get through on a scoring pass. Jammer for Texas is in behind. And it's not yet out and clear. Whoopi Rolberg now up to the pack. And just barely bumped off onto the infield was Whoopi Rolberg, trying to find her way through now. And completing another scoring pass was Whoopi Rolberg. Just a couple of seconds left here in the jam, and that'll do it. Ten-point jam there for Whoopi Rolberg.
Star Drug is taking the jam lane for LA with Scapegoat from TXRD.
And racing her way through along the outer third of the track there, Star D Ruckus is your lead jammer.
Scapegoat almost out of that pack there in turn one. LA's defense doing a great job of keeping her in the pack. Meanwhile, Druck is trying to score some points for LA. Druckus comes around for some more points. Meanwhile, Scapegoat still is in the pack, unable to score any points quite yet.
"12 seconds to go in the jam. A collision there in the back of the pack, and it looks like that was it for the jam. And that's going to do it for the first quarter as well. We're waiting on the official score. And it's going to be a 9-point jam for Los Angeles to close out the first quarter. So as we head to the quarter break, we will step aside from the action for a 5-minute break for a quick breather. Our score right now, Los Angeles 117, Texas 2. Looks like we got a couple of minutes left to go here in the quarter break. Wanted to remind you again that after the second quarter comes halftime, at least in most bouts. And at halftime is a great opportunity for you to get some food. Outside, we've got the Off the Hook Taco Truck. They're going to be here all night, and they're going to be here all day tomorrow. And they are serving fantastic food. They serve SoCal and Baja-inspired cuisine, not just fish. They do have chicken and vegetarian options as well, so worth checking out by all means. And then we have the Fantasy Funnel Cake Truck. There's a food truck that can make your fantasies come true. They serve funnel cakes and churros, and they have corn dogs, other fried things, French fries, and really tasty soft pretzels as well. I had a churro before the bout, and it was wonderful. So I can personally endorse them. So that is your outside food options with which to enjoy at the end of this quarter of action.
For all the skaters in the house that are interested in purchasing gear spray from the Coffin Draggers, their table will actually not be here tomorrow. So if you wanted gear spray, your time is now. Make your way over to the Coffin Dragger gear spray booth that's located by the front entrance.
And with that whistle, we are ready to get back to the action. Starting off the second quarter, our jammer for Texas is going to be number 42, Mostly Harmless.
Draft Punk for LA. Mo trying to fight her way through that back wall. Draft Punk able to run right on through on that inside. As Mo races past on the high side and is out of the pack as well. Draft Punk coming up on the pack to score some points. As Mo steals lead. But then has to reset.
Mo stole lead for a second and then...
For a second, it was glorious.
Yeah. And a big collision back in behind as well. There goes Mostly Harmless down to the infield. Working her way through the pack, and Draft Punk is by on a scoring pass.
We've got a star pass, so Scarlet Knockout will be now the jammer for Texas.
Scarlet Knockout trying to get back to the pack in time, but that's going to do it for the jam.
We've got Skeletina skating with Texas on that jammer line.
And jamming for LA is going to be Jane Woe.
3-on-3 in that box. Each team down a blocker. Skeletina trying to break through right on that inside, following that other jammer, and is out of the pack as well. With LA in lead, we've got a jammer race.
We got a good old-fashioned jammer race now. Jane Woe, a little wobble there in the front straightaway. Skeletina doing everything she could, and Jane Woe ends up calling the jam.
Ruth Badger Jukesberg taking the line for Texas.
And jamming for LA, that is number 115, Sly Fox.
Ruth Badger Jukesberg out of that pack as your lead jammer for this jam. Coming around for some points.
Sly Fox out of the pack for LA as well.
Ruth Badger Jukesberg calling that jam before Sly Fox is able to pick up any points for her team. We've got John Wayne Gacy taking the jammer line for TXRD. Never mind. Looks like we've got a power jam for LA.
Set up to do the jamming for LA is New York Skate of Mind.
Wow. And that pack just opened right on up for her, and she ran right down the center of it. New York Skate of Mind coming up on the pack to pick up some points for LA. Able to get past all of those blockers and coming around for more. LA doing a great job of keeping Texas all split up right now.
We're just over halfway through the power jam. New York Skate of Mind is coming around for more points now. And New York Skate of Mind able to dash through the pack in the far turn and has about 6 seconds left and is going to try to catch up here and see what she can get for points. Able to dodge a blocker along the back straightaway and get past a couple more. Put some more points on the board for LA. We will wait for the score, and the score is going to be waiting for confirmation. And for the moment, that's what it is, waiting for confirmation. There we are. And it's 20, a 20-point jam for Los Angeles.
Green lead. Green approaching for scoring pass. 1 is 2, 1 is 2.
And sliding to a stop is Whoopi Rollberg as the jam is called off. 2 points for Texas on the board. And we're underway in the next jam. Jamming for LA is Oblivion Westwood, your captain. Both jammers out. The jammer for Texas is John Wayne Gacy, formerly or otherwise known as Malice Aforethought from her days here in Arizona, of course. Oblivion Westwood through the pack and calls off the jam. 1 point there for Oblivion Westwood.
LA in the lead. Texas Jammer still in that pack. She's just coming up to pick up some points for LA. Skates right on through that pack and comes around for more.
And there goes Scarlet Knockout for Texas out of the pack. And is endeavoring to catch up as Jesus approaches on a scoring pass, gets past a couple of skaters and calls it off. Seven points on the board for LA in that jam. We're halfway through the second quarter. LA is in front 160-11.
Skeletina taking that jammer line for Texas. Up against
Jane Woe for Los Angeles. And Jane Woe out of the pack and is your lead jammer.
Skeletina having a hard time breaking past LA. Got a jammer pile up there in turn 3.
Yeah, big collision there between the two jammers. Jane Woe now up towards the front of the pack and trying to find her way through, trying to fight her way through that wall of 4 Texas defenders out in front. And dumped down onto the infield by those defenders. She was out of the pack now, and not lead jammer is Skeletina. And that does it for the jam. Looks like we got Shady Hawkins on the jammer line for LA.
With Joliet Jane from Texas. Joliet Jane trying to get out on that high side, but LA doing a good job of keeping her in. She was almost out. Shady Hawkins, your lead jammer for this jam, coming around to score some points.
And Shady Hawkins now taking advantage of a staggered out pack. Able to run through, and following in her wake was Joliet Jane. So she's out of the pack too.
LA doing a great job of timing their offense to attack right when their jammer comes up.
Now setting up the jam for Texas is going to be Jose Cuervo.
And for LA, New York Skate of Mind. That's the whistle for the jam. Jose Cuervo trying to skate through that pack. New York Skate of Mine out of the pack there in turn one, coming around for a first scoring pass. They've got to let Jose Cuervo out.
New York Skate of Mine now about a half track ahead and racing by along the outside rail. Able to make her way through the pack and calls off the jam. Four points on the board for LA there. We've got Whoopi Rollberg for Los Angeles.
And we've got Slayana Mormont on that line for Texas.
And there's Whoopi Rollberg getting that last blocker pushed out of play, and Whoopi Rollberg out and clear, and is your lead jammer for Los Angeles. Whoopi Rollberg able to make her way through the pack again. Texas still trying to spring their jammer. Slayana Mormont trying to find an opening along the inside, now going to the high side with Whoopi Rollberg approaching the pack now. Whoopi Rollberg taking advantage of that, but meeting some firm defense there on the front end. It looks like Scarlet Knockout helping with that on the front end of the pack. And Slayana Mormont out of the pack as well.
We've got Oblivion Westwood taking that jammer line for LA. Up against John Wayne Gay from Texas.
And there we are underway. Racing her way to the front of the pack, there goes Oblivion Westwood. And she is your lead jammer for LA. Emerging from the pack as well, there goes John Wayne Gay. John Wayne out of the pack too. Oblivion Westwood bumped off onto the infield slightly, kind of took away her momentum, now follows her blockers to the front of the pack, gets her points and calls off the jam.
We've got Joliet Jane taking that jammer line from Texas.
And for LA, it's going to be Bel Scorcho, number 85.
Bit of a pile up there, but everybody is back up and skating. We've got Bel Scorcho out as your lead jammer. Joliet Jane still behind LA defense. Bel Scorcho able to hop right on through on that high side. Joliet Jane gives the star to Scarlet Knockout. She will now be the jammer for Texas. We've got about 2.5 minutes left in the second quarter as Jackie Nimble puts on that star for LA up against Ruth Badger Jukesburg from Texas.
Just a little more than 2 minutes to go until halftime here. And making her way to the front of the pack, there goes Jackie Nimble, lead jammer for Los Angeles. And your Texas jammer out as well. There goes the notorious RBJ. Jackie Nimble ran into a couple of defenders there kind of at the point of the turn. Bumped her off onto the infield, so she called off the jam heading off the track. Picked up a couple of points for LA, puts them up over 200. And it is going to be a power jam for LA.
We've got 4-on-4 in that box.
And it looks like we've got Star D Ruckus out there for Los Angeles. And is going to be doing the power jam thing. Took a bump from the last blocker for Texas, but managed to kind of skid herself to a stop and kept going forward. So with just a few seconds gone here in the power jam, here comes Star D Ruckus. And there goes Star D Ruckus through the pack.
That LA jammer coming around for some more points during this power jam. Joliet Jane delivering a hit to that jammer, sending her to the infield, but she is back up and at it. Druck is coming around for some more. She looks back at the clock. Still has about 18 seconds left.
The Texas defenders now trying to get together at the front of the pack and see if they can try to speed things up. LA trying to get in the middle of that. Texas still trying to play keep away. Pack gets a little staggered, and that's going to do it for the jam clock. So we got time to squeeze in one more jam before halftime.
With Scapegoat taking that jammer line for Texas.
For LA is going to be Skatem O'Neal. $13 points on the board for Los Angeles there. And out the front of the pack, and your lead jammer for Texas, it is going to be Scapegoat. Scapegoat now up to the pack. They take a tumble. Back up now, trying to find their way along the inside. Back up on the track after getting bumped off and just called it off in time.
That's going to be halftime.
That is indeed.
We will see you back here in 15 minutes for some more roller derby. that is the whistle for the second half of this game. TXRD versus LADD. We've got Joliet Jane taking the jammer line for Texas up against Jade DeBlack from LA with a 4-on-3 Texas. Oh, no, sorry, 4-on-4 full box. Jade DeBlack taking that low lane fairly quickly. Right on open for her. Joliet Jane still behind LA's defense. Jade DeBlack approaching the pack for her first scoring pass. Able to get past 3 of those Texas blockers. And the last one, she is coming around for more. JJ still trying to fight her way through that pack. Trying to pass the star. As Jade DeBlack approaches, still has plenty of time left on the clock for some more passes. Mostly harmless is going to be the jammer for Texas now that she's got that star in her hand. Jade DeBlack able to get back on that track, running right down through that low lane with 5 seconds left on that clock.
And there, as the clock expired, Mostly Harmless got out of the pack. And it looks like on the jammer line for Texas is going to be Skeletina. And for LA, that's Oblivion Westwood. 15 points on the board for Los Angeles in that last jam. And emerging as your lead jammer is Oblivion Westwood for LA. Back in the pack, Skeletina now along the inside, able to outrun that last blocker to the front of the pack and is out as well. Oblivion Westwood to the inside and able to slalom around that last blocker for Texas. So Oblivion Westwood picking up 4 points for LA there.
We've got Depeche Alamode on that jammer line for Texas. And it looks like it's going to be a power jam for Texas.
So there we are, Depeche Alamode on the jammer line.
Oh no, Chosen One calling an official timeout.
So breaking the action there. It looks like indeed, no, there we go. Confirmation from the infield. So Los Angeles challenging the call on their jammer from the last jam. So the referees are together in the back straight away and will be discussing this one.
While we are in this challenge, Fantasy Funnel Cake is a food truck that can make your fantasies come true. Step outside and get a dessert to die for. They also have corn dogs, pretzels, churros, and fried Twinkies. Delicious food for your face.
This is Bliss Massage, is transforming lives one massage at a time, offering massage treatments at their Tempe office and via their mobile massage unit. They specialize in Swedish, deep tissue, Reiki, and much more. Text or call 480-408-1314 to schedule an appointment. It's one of our tournament sponsors. This is Bliss Massage. And it looks like the challenge review is over, so we will be checking in, and the call stands. So, challenge unsuccessful. So the power jam stands. It'll be a power jam for Texas. Coming back from this timeout. Looks like still discussion going on here with the head referee and the representatives from the two sides. Looks like they're getting everything squared away there. And the discussion has ended and we're ready to get back underway. So, power jam for Texas. That squad from Austin out there with the power jam, and it's going to be number 1337, Joliet Jane. Doing the power jam, bumped off onto the infield with their first attempt at getting through the pack. Now trying to make her way around a blocker.
LA doing their best to send 1 to 2 blockers towards the front. Recycling in front of Joliet Jane.
"20 seconds to go. Joliet Jane still looking for some purchase. And the call goes up from the bench.
We've got a star pass.
Indeed. Star was passed to that Texas pivot.
Scarlet Knockout will be the jammer for Texas, but there is no more time on that clock. LA doing a great job of keeping that power defense strong the entire 60 seconds. Scapegoat taking the jammer line for Texas.
And for LA, you are looking at Whoopi Rollberg. And Whoopi Rollberg eyeing a seam there along the middle of the packet, able to get through. She's your lead jammer for LA.
Whoopi Rollberg able to get out of that pack there. Scapegoat trying to fight her way through LA's defense in the back as Whoopi Rollberg is able to score some more points for her team. Scapegoat finally breaking out of the pack here in turn 4.
So Scapegoat out of the pack. Whoopi Rollberg now approaching on a scoring pass. Navigating her way through the pack, working her way through. Plucking her way through there that would make Magellan proud. And emerges out the other side and calls the jam off. 14 points on the board for LA. Stepping up to the jammer line for Texas number 62, Slayana Mormont. And for LA, that's going to be Shady Hawkins, number 9 3/4. The jam is underway. Shady Hawkins up to the outside, able to outrun Scarlet Knockout to the corner. And Shady Hawkins is your lead jammer for LA. And Shady Hawkins forced off onto the infield, but given the wave around, so Shady Hawkins gets to go on. As the blocker that blocked her off also ended up on the infield.
Slayana Mormont trying to break out, but unable to. That is the whistle for the jam. Jose Cuervo taking that jammer line for Texas. up against New York Skate of Mine for LA.
We are halfway through this third quarter. LA puts 9 points on the board in the last jam. And New York Skate of Mine racing along to the outside, able to get to the corner. However, your Texas Jammer out as well, right in behind. That's Jose Cuervo. And Jose Cuervo making it so that New York Skate of Mine just gets through that first part of the pack and has to call off the jam. 2 points.
Ruth Badger Jukesberg taking that jammer line for Texas. Up against Jane Woe from LA.
Ruth Badger Jukesberg. Of course, long time Justice of the Supreme Court.
Jane Woe breaking out of that pack there in turn 1.
And Jane
Woe
Woe weaving her way through the pack that time. Sorry, Dora.
No, you're good. I was going to say the same thing. Ruth Badger Jukesberg still behind LA's defensive wall.
And there goes Jane Woe again. And Jane Woe bumped off onto the infield. Scarlet knockout. Last line of defense for Texas.
Texas did a great job of recycling there to the front to help block that LA jammer.
And that'll do it for the jam clock on that jam.
Scalatina taking that jammer line for Texas. Up against Druckus from LA.
And out the front of the pack, there goes Stardy Ruckus and your lead jammer for Los Angeles.
Scalatina trying to break past those LA blockers, and they just keep recycling in front of her. Ruckus able to get out there on that high side. Scalatina also breaking out. That LA jammer calling off that jam.
Five and a half minutes to go here in the third quarter. 273 to 12 is the score. Your jammer for Los Angeles is number 85, Bel Scorcho. And jamming for Texas, number 62, Slayana Mormont.
We've got a star pass. Joliet Jane has the star in her hand. She will now be the jammer for Texas. Meanwhile, Bel Scorcho comes around for her first scoring pass. Joliet Jane able to break out of that pack there in the straightaway as Bel Scorcho skates right on through that low lane. Texas putting 2 more points on that score. Looks like the jammer, Joliet Jane, during the time that she was jamming, committing a penalty. So it's going to be a power jam for Los Angeles.
So we've got Jade DeBlack on the jammer line for LA out there all by her lonesome. Able to race right through the pack and is out and clear 2 seconds into the jam. And on scoring pass number 1, Jade DeBlack Manages to get by that 2 wall at the front of the pack. Now Jade DeBlack approaching the pack. The Los Angeles defenders do have Jackie Lantern pinned in behind them. And Jade DeBlack quickly to the front of the pack, able to push those last blockers out of play. With 16 seconds to go here in the Power Jam, Jade DeBlack comes around for scoring attempt number 3.
Jade DeBlack able to avoid John Wayne Gay's tap to the infield.
And it's a 15-point Power Jam.
Bringing the score to 292, your LA Ri-Ettes. 14, TXRD All-Star Army.
Jamming for Los Angeles is going to be Sly Fox, and your jammer for Texas is Ruth Badger Jukesberg. And Sly Fox out the front, and Sly Fox is the lead jammer for LA. Sly Fox through the turn. Our blocker's doing a great job of holding that pack pinned up to the guardrail. And there goes Sly Fox again. Ruth Badger Jukesberg tries to get up and play a little bit of jammer defense. So 15 points on the board for LA, puts them up over 300 for the bout. Number 247, Jose Cuervo on the line for Texas. And for Los Angeles, that is going to be number 845, New York Skate of Mind. And New York Skate of Mind quickly to the front of the pack in his lead jammer. New York Skate of Mind now mid-pack trying to find her way through. Trying to complete a scoring pass and going up against John Wayne Gay towards the upside of the rail.
Hemlock! Hemlock!
4 points on the board for Los Angeles as we get ready for the next jam. We've got Slayana Mormont out there for Texas and Whoopi Rolberg for Los Angeles. And Whoopi Rolberg trying to do battle, trying to find her way through. Good defense from Texas on this jam. Whoopi Rolberg still pinned in the pack as about a quarter of the jam is gone. And we do have a pass of the star cover, and taking over as jammers, number 1337, Joliet Jane.
Hemlock, your lead! Hemlock, your lead!
And Joliet Jane, at just by the last couple shreds of elastic, got that star cover on her helmet just in time. And that is going to do it for the third quarter. So we will step aside from the action for a 5-minute break here at the end of the quarter. And we'll be back with you in just a few more minutes. Your score, LA 311, Texas 16. And so with that whistle, we are back to the action here at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Bout number 5 of Chingadera 2019. And we start things off with LA up 3-11 to 16. And LA starting off with a power jam. Number 524, Sonia Sotomayor is out there to do the power jam for Los Angeles and is out and clear as an active scorer. Rapidly moving pack now here in this Los Angeles power jam, making their way now a little more staggered. And Sonia Sotomayor able to find her way through. And on the second scoring pass now, mid-pack is Sonia trying to get past those last couple of Texas defenders, and they are out of play. So she is through the pack with 10 seconds to go.
John Wayne Gay goaded in the back of that LA defense, splitting this pack. Texas unable to defend for very long, all the way out in that front. Ruth Badger Jukesberg taking that jammer line for Texas. Up against New York Skate of Mind.
$12 points on the board for Los Angeles there in that jam.
New York Skate of Mind trying to skate out there on the high side. And out she goes in turn 1. Ruth Badger Jukesberg taking a hit to the infield as New York Skate of Mind approaches the pack for her first scoring pass. She gets right on out on that high side and comes around for some more.
Trying to pick her way along the inside is Ruth Badger Jukesberg, but that door was closed off by several skaters wearing black jerseys. And there goes New York Skate of Mind, finding her way handily through the pack. Ten seconds to go in this jam, and there out the front of the pack is Ruth Badger Jukesberg. Tiptoeing her way along the coping in the corner. There goes New York Skate of Mind on another scoring pass. And that'll do it for the jam clock. We will wait for the score. Another 15-point jam for LA. And as we set up for the next jam, this is going to be a power jam for LA. Jammer penalty assessed to Texas in that previous jam. And that was Jane Woe, who
Coming
thought
up.
she had an opening.
But John Wayne Gay said no.
John Wayne Gay again wearing that pivot stripe for Texas and delivering a crushing blow to Jane Woe, at least trying to slow her down for a little bit during this power jam. Got her up into the guardrail that time. Power jam halfway gone, and Jane Woe now coming around.
Oh, Jane Woe taking a hit to that infield, but ends up getting right back on that track. John Wayne Gay still goaded in the back behind LA's defense.
And there we have it for the jam clock in that power jam. Eight points on the board for Los Angeles there. Stepping up to the jammer line all by herself for a Texas power jam. That's going to be number 29, Copperhead. And
With 3-on-2 blockers in the box. LA the advantage.
LA the blocker advantage. But it is still a power jam for Texas, and Copperhead now going to try to find her way through.
Copperhead trying to get past those LA blockers.
Pack proceeding there into the back straightaway. LA recycling around in front of the jammer. Copperhead trying to push her way through. Spun down onto the inside, now back up. As the pack proceeds in front of the announcer's nest here. A whole lot of chatter going on. Blockers talking to blockers. Always fun when the pack comes by going that slowly. And emerging along the inside to a raucous cheer from the crowd on the Texas bench is Copperhead as the...
Jackie Lantern taking the jammer line for Texas.
We got Jackie Lantern out there, and for LA is going to be Bell Scorcho. And emerging from the pack, there goes Bell Scorcho, lead jammer for Los Angeles. Bell Scorcho trying to find her way through. Jackie Lantern taking a tumble down to the infield now, back up and trying to find her way through. Bell Scorcho executes the scoring pass. We're halfway through the jam. And Jackie Lantern emerges from the pack and is clear as Bell Scorcho completes another lap. Jackie Lantern out of the pack and making her way around now. Bell Scorcho fighting her way through the pack and then calls the jam.
Joliet Jane taking that jammer panning and being the jammer for Texas up against Whoopi Rollberg from LA.
Joliet Jane on to the outside, and she is out on lead jammer for Texas. Whoopi Rollberg now trying to catch up for LA. And Joliet Jane up into a cluster of black jerseys and had to call off the jam. We will wait and check that score. 2 points on the board for Texas. Stepping up to the jammer line is going to be Oblivion Westwood for Los Angeles. And for Texas, that's number 247, Jose Cuervo. And Oblivion Westwood blasting from the outside down to the inside to angle through the turn. And is the lead jammer for LA.
Jose Cuervo breaking out of that pack there in turn 2. Oblivion Westwood able to skate right on that inside with no one to stop her as Jose Cuervo approaches.
Jose Cuervo now up into the pack. Oblivion Westwood seems content to let it play on. So Oblivion Westwood on through the pack, runs a little more time off the clock. And that looks like Slayana Mormont is jamming for Texas. And the Los Angeles jammer is very active and moving so fast I can't read her number. I think that's Stardy Ruckus. That is indeed Stardy Ruckus. Jamming for LA and is your lead jammer.
Mo and
Ruckus.
Scarlett, yeah, doing a great 2 while here in the front, slowing that jammer down, but ultimately get pushed out of play.
And the jammer for Texas, Leona Mormont, trying to tiptoe along, trying to get that star cover handed along as well. And that's going to do it for that jam. And before we get to the next jam, it's going to be an official timeout. So the clock stops with 5 minutes and 2 seconds to go here in regulation. Los Angeles out to a comfortable lead. We'd like to let you know about another one of our tournament sponsors, Nutrition One School Lunch Program. Food is the energy that growing children need, providing healthy, great-tasting, and freshly prepared whole foods to local schools valley-wide. Nutrition One works closely with the Department of Education and the USDA to make sure our children are getting what they need daily to stay focused and get the best out of their school lunch. Nutrition One School Lunch Program. We are ready to get back to the action. Setting up to jam, it's going to be Skeletina for Texas. And
Up against Jane Woe from LA.
And Jane Woe to the front of the pack, but actually hung up at there, doing battle with those two Texas defenders again at the front of the pack, John Wayne Gay and Mostly Harmless. Skeletina now for Texas up to the front of the pack and trying to get past that two wall of Los Angeles defenders at the front of the pack. Meanwhile, along the inside, there goes Jane Woe, now out as lead jammer for LA halfway through the jam. Sleana Mormont, Skeletina, my goodness, Skeletina out of the pack as well. You think I'd know who Skeletina is. At any rate, that does it for the jam after the Los Angeles Jammer picked up her points. So 4 minutes to go in regulation. It is going to be Joliet Jane, number leet for Texas. And your LA Jammer. LA Jammer is number 500, Jesus.
Juliet Jane trying to get out of that pack, but Jesus breaks out first.
Joliet Jane now out and clear as well and is going to try to catch her. And a big collision as Jesus runs into a blocker at the back of the pack and calls off the jam. No points for either side.
Jammet doing a great job of defending that low.
Jamming for Los Angeles is number 845, New York State of Mind.
Jamming for Texas is number 616, Scapegoat. Texas is going to be down 2 blockers for this jam.
Battling her way to the front of the pack goes New York State of Mind. Got all 3 of those defenders headed up the track and then spun around them with the help of her pivot. So she is your lead jammer for Los Angeles. Scapegoat out as well for Texas. They are about half a track behind, give or take. Oh, goodness. On her way through the pack there. New York State of Mind was hit abruptly and knocked down to the infield, trying to find her way through the pack now to complete the scoring pass. And also assist with the advancement of the clock at this point in the game, I believe. Big collision there. New York State of Mind again takes a big fall. Trying to fight her way through the outside and weave her way through the pack. There goes Scapegoat. Knocked down to the infield. And before we move any further, it's going to be an official timeout. Some discussion of a lead change perhaps there and who was lead and who wasn't. So they're going to be discussing that one over there on the infield. I'd like to let you know about Siphon Draw Apothecary Shop. They will have a booth here that will be open again tomorrow all day long. They produce all natural, non-toxic, handcrafted skincare products made by our very own Dolly de los Muertos. Visit their booth tomorrow here at Chingadera Day 2, or visit them at the Goldfield Ghost Town on Historic Highway 88. And after discussion, we've got the score all set. It was a lead change, and then 2 points scored by the Texas Jammer. So 2 points on the board for Texas. Score right now is 382-20. But it is now going to be a power jam. Jade DeBlack out there all by her lonesome for Los Angeles. And Jade DeBlack spins past some defenders and is out and clear and is an active scorer. There is the minimum of Texas skaters out there right now, just 2 of them. Texas has a jammer and 2 blockers in the penalty box. But 1 blocker there able to knock the LA Jammer off stride and still not giving it up, mostly harmless. Now getting some assistance from one of her blockers and springing Jade DeBlack loose. Mostly harmless, checks her skate and gets back up on the track with 11 seconds to go here in the power jam. Up to the outside this time goes Jade DeBlack. And a little bit of assistance from the blockers helping spring her loose. And that's going to do it for the power jam. Awesome. 10 points on the board for Los Angeles. And we are going to now have a power jam for Texas. Power jam for Texas, as a penalty was called on the LA Jammer during that power jam. So a power jam for Texas to close out this quarter. Which is the last quarter of the game. Excuse me. It's still technically true. It wasn't wrong. It's just not what I meant. It is number 16, Scapegoat, in the last jam in regulation, and it's a power jam for Texas. Scapegoat trying to force their way through the pack. Still doing battle. Still up to the rail. Los Angeles does not want to let them through the pack. "20 seconds to go here in this jam. And Los Angeles is definitely controlling the pace of play here. Now trying to spring them loose. A couple of Texas defenders try to push a blocker out of the way. And it looks like the clock's going to run down. Scapegoat still pinned in behind that 3 wall at the back of the pack. And then so we will check the status here, see what the penalty situation is going to be, see if there's going to be any penalty jams. And with that signal, the game is over, and your final score, Los Angeles 392, Texas 20. All right, Derby fans, we are going to step aside briefly here. Next bout will get underway at 7 p.m. sharp. We'll get you team introductions in just about 13 minutes maybe.